Hello and welcome along to WD18, the Watford fan channel. It's another podcast after a Watford win. It finished Watford 2, Plymouth 0 at Vicarage Road. We're going to be touching on the Carabao Cup second round yesterday. We're going to be looking ahead to Sheffield United on Sunday as well, with a bit of transfer chat in between. Sam Yuko, Charlie Zera and myself, Jacob Culture. But Sam, how are you, my friend? I always tee up by saying that because I like to think if you've had a good day, I've had a good day.
Mate, it is just feeling on top of the world at the minute with the way that Watford are playing, and it's difficult not to be. It's great to see you pre-game as well yesterday, Jacob. It's been a long time. It was great to see you and your old man as well. So, yeah, it was an enjoyable night yet again at Vicarage Road, and here's hoping it continues.
My dad, as per usual, chewing someone's ear off just for absolutely no reason. And Sam and my dad got into the depths of the PR world. Bit of advice, even though he's never worked in it either. I was dropping a delivery off for Sam, actually, the Art of Football new sweatshirt, which is an absolute beauty. This isn't brought to you in partnership with Art of Football, but my words, get down there because the sweatshirt's a top draw. Charlie, I need to drop yours off. But how did you enjoy yesterday? Another win for the Hornets, and Charlie was pumping out the Tom Cleverley stats yesterday as well.
Just another win, routine. We move on, getting used to it now. It was nice watching a game of football, just totally relaxed. Like, I just thought we were in complete control. Obviously, caveat, it was Plymouth's second string, and I thought Clevs did start a really strong team. But yeah, it was just really nice, relaxed game. I was hoping we were going to score a few more goals to kind of become the team in the country who've scored the most goals in the league. We're drawing with Blackburn at the moment with 15. But yeah, a nice watch. Let's hope, fingers crossed, we can get something similar on Sunday, although it could be a bit different.
We'll see how we get on Sunday against Sheffield United, which we'll get into. But Watford are now the only team in the EFL to have won all their games in all competitions this season. That's 5 games, 5 wins, 15 goals and 3 clean sheets. And the key stat for our Hertfordshire Mind Initiative, which is £1 for every goal Watford score, is 15 goals, which means £15 for us to donate. And myself, Sam and Charlie, as of this morning, went onto the Hearts Mind page. The link is in the description below to the Just Giving page and put our £15 in. Sam, I wanted to ask you though, do you think that will be the highest amount we'll donate in a month if you were going to put a prediction in now, or do you think that will be top this season? Because that is, so you got to think about 2 cup games, 3 league games with, I mean, we were scoring from, particularly the opening day, 3-0 at Millwall. Who would have predicted that? Do you think that'll be topped?
It's difficult to see that being topped, to be honest with you, particularly because I think in October and November, we're broken up a bit by a couple of international breaks as well. So, yeah, unfortunately, we won't have the money coming in for that. But it's all down to December and January then, isn't it? Where we'll have all those Christmas games. We'll be back in the FA Cup as well. Hopefully a Carabao Cup quarter-final and semi-final to come as well in those months. So trying not to get ahead of myself there. But yeah, what a fantastic start to the partnership, isn't it? And thank you to everyone who got involved so far. In particular, a certain Mr. Paul Robinson as well.
A certain Mr. Paul Robinson, the legend himself, donating £15 with £3.75 gift aid. The Orns are on fire. But also, we wanted to give a huge shout out to Elliot, friend of the channel. You must remember Elliot during COVID, during lockdown, working at the football club now. He's doing an amazing job with the content team so far this season. He did say to me, it helps when the team are doing well because there's so many good things to talk about at Watford at this moment in time. And he put the comment, we come, we donate, we go home with 15 goals. So I think that's the way to do it so far this season. As I said, the link is in the description below to check that out and get involved with our initiative this season. The first, hopefully, of many months where Watford score many goals. And they did last night, Charlie. Plymouth 0, Watford 2 at Vicarage Road. Watford are through to the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup. Again, I mean, pretty comfortable in the end, Charlie. I mean, you didn't feel really at any point that Plymouth, maybe a couple of times with Michael Obafemi making some running behinds, but bar that, you felt that Watford were in control of the game. And if anything, it could have been more than 2 on another night.
Definitely should have been more than 2. Before I talk about the game as well, didn't someone else say they were going to donate for goals conceded and clean sheets? I won't mention it, but we'll move on.
we won't mention it. I think from the Recriens, that's correct.
They know who they are. They know who they are. We look forward to the donation. Last night, sorry, Plymouth game last night. Yeah. What did you guys think of the lineup actually? Because we talked about it in the last video. It was pretty strong. Sam, what do you think of the lineup?
Sam, just before you do that, I'll just run through it. So it was Jonathan Bond in goal, a back three of Searalton, Morris and Porteous. Andrews on the right, Ken Semmer at left wing back, Imran Luz and Deli Bashir as the two, Quadro Bar on the left-hand side, Thomas Ince on the right-hand side with Militer, Rovik leading the line. Sam?
Yeah, I think in terms of what we predicted, I think that was pretty much nailed on, other than we said, I think Pollock would play over Searalton. We thought Searalton would be given a rest. We got it right that Sissoko would be given a rest in the middle of the park and Imran Loza would come in for him. Wish Imran Loza well, obviously, as well, with his injury. Came off after about 20, 25 minutes. So, yeah, hopefully it's nothing too serious, as we really need that depth in the middle of the park. And other than that, I think we said it was a toss-up between Quadro Bar and Rocco Vata as well, didn't we? So I think it was as expected, to be honest with you. I think that front three was the biggest lottery in terms of what he'd go with. Would Rovik start down the middle? Would he go with Bard down the middle? Doumbia, could he play? Would Vata start? But yeah, there were no real shocks there for me, to be honest with you. And particularly in that forward line, I think it's a real positive that there's such strong competition for places at the moment. And it seems that whoever's coming in, whether that's off the bench in the league or starting games in the cup, seem to be really excelling themselves. So, yeah, in terms of, I mean, we were worried about squad depth throughout the season. I think almost the further back you go within the team in terms of midfield, defence, the midfield and the defence, I think it does definitely weaken from that forward line. But the depth going forward is really, really strong.
Charlie, I think also that you'd say about the lineup is you're bringing in players who are competing for places. I mean, we've looked at the team that's playing in the Championship at the minute, a couple of tweaks here and there, but nothing major. But you look at some of the players who came in to start. You look at Rovik, you got 2 goals to his names. Bari's come in on the left-hand side. Ince, another one. Ken Semmer, who hasn't started every game. You even look at Imran Loza, obviously didn't really step up to the plate. Obviously, he did get turned a couple of times, but unfortunately, the injury happened as well. But I guess one of the biggest positives so far this season is obviously the wins, etc. But we have a squad where there is a real competition for places, to the point that we've got Rocco Vata sat on the bench. Yeah, it's a nice position to be in.
Yeah, it feels like we've probably got our worst squad in many, many years, but it's probably one of the most healthiest, if that makes sense, in terms of vibe, culture, and kind of everyone's willingness. And then what we're seeing when everyone comes on, and it feels like we have got the what we've got on the bench isn't a big jump, if you know what I mean. We've got people like Ken Semmer, who captained the team yesterday. Loser was £10 million once upon a time. Rovik has scored our most goals since he joined. So I'd say we've got a healthy squad. And again, you'd probably put that down to Clevs and kind of the culture he's built. I think it was good to see Bar starting yesterday. I think he deserved that after his cameo on the weekend. And yeah, we still had Ryan at right back. I want to give another shout out to James Morris, who I thought could have been one of his best games yesterday. It was nice to see him getting really forward. I know there was a tactical tweak kind of midway through the second half, but I thought Morris looked really accomplished yesterday, and even attacking, he put a ball in with beautiful pace on it, which Rovik should have scored. So even Jonathan Bond kind of rescued Ryan Andrews' bad back pass. So yeah, a lovely day in the office.
Yeah, I have to say, just completely random point on James Morris. I couldn't believe that yellow card he got, by the way. I've still to this point, I'm working out how the referee came to that decision that he should get a yellow card for James Morris. Sam, I wanted to touch on Militer Rovik first half anyway. That first goal in the 17th minute. A great ball from Ryan Andrews with a exciting overlapping run.
It was Ryan Porteous.
Ryan Porteous. Yeah, no, sorry. The assist to the assist. So you had Ryan Andrews playing the ball to Porteous. Porteous making the overlap, crossing it, and then Rovik with the deftness of touches, sending it through the keeper's legs. I mean, the keeper's had a stinker there. I don't know what it is with the Carabao Cup, but
we've played some bad keepers this season, haven't we? Jesus.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I did think that the Plymouth keeper redeemed himself to an extent. One like ridiculous second half there from him. Yeah, that Ryan Porteous run. Ironic that we're playing Sheffield United at the weekend, as that's almost textbook Chris Wilder, isn't it? Sheffield United, his first spell at Sheffield United when you had I think it was Basham overlapping and getting forward in the Premier League, and I think it's something that we probably hope to see a bit more with while Chris Wilder was at Watford. But 2 years down the line, we're seeing Ryan Porteous break into the box and getting that assist. It was a really, really clever finish from Rovik, and I ultimately have to buy a ticket to go on to score a goal like that. It was poor goalkeeping, of course, but I think it's a sign of a player who's playing with confidence at the moment. I know he's not starting in league games. Obviously, he scored that winner against Millwall. And he might even go further down the pecking order with Daniel Jebison still set to come in, we believe. That one seemed to have slowed down a bit, but Bournemouth playing in the Carabao Cup tonight, it might speed things up after that. But he seems to be playing with so much confidence. There's been a slight tweak to his game now. I saw Watford Analytics, Tom from the Watford Buzz podcast speak about the way that he's now starting to run in behind a bit more, whereas last season he was showing the ball to feet. I think there's more of an aggression to his game now as well. That was my big problem with Rovik last season, was he was a bit flat-footed and wasn't aggressive enough off the ball. But I think we're seeing a change now from that. He's far from the finished product at all, but the box is his office, and he's scoring goals in it at the moment. So fair play to him.
He's a fascinating one, isn't he, Rovik, Charlie? Because in the box, there is no denying he's sharp, his movement's good. We all know that more often than not, if you give him a chance, he will put it away. And if it wasn't for some great goalkeeping last night from Daniel Grimshaw, he could have probably had a hat-trick. There was part of me which thought, oh, do we keep him on just see if we can get the hat-trick? Just a word on Rovik. 2 to his name last night. I think it's a great position for Tom Cleverley to be in, where you've got Bio scoring an acrobatic finish at the weekend. You bring Rovik in. He has 2 goals to his name. There's a competition for that place, as I said at the top of the show. But what impressed you with Rovik's performance yesterday? Maybe away from the goals, or is it just as simple as that with him?
Yeah, impressed might be a strong word. He's an absolute enigma. We've got 2 strikers who are just enigmas, like even Bio, but Rovik, he's just a box striker. It's just perfect in terms of if you're high volume for crosses or getting balls in the box, perfect. But apart from that, I mean, there was one moment, and I think his pressing is not great. It feels like his pressing, there's like a force field around the defenders, and he doesn't get near them. But just get it in the box, and he's going to score. I know he should have got that hat trick, but I think you give the keeper some good praise. The fact that he's made that run to get the flick for the first goal, and the second goal as well, like a smart finish. I think his attitude is spot on. I just see him as a really good option off the bench, and in games like this is a perfect opportunity. And look, we know injuries are going to happen, so he's probably going to get a run of 5 games this season. It's about the team and Clevs maybe tweaking a bit about how we play to get the most out of him, because if you want us to have a high press with Rovik or putting through balls or him running the channels, I just don't think it's going to happen. So but yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously we have got Daniel Jebison coming in, so that'll be interesting what happens in terms of the substitution. If he is starting, is Bio going to be the first one? I still think Rovik might be a better option off the bench if we're chasing a game.
Do you think he's more suited because of how many wide areas we get into, Charlie, and the amount of crosses that are going into the box, like yesterday?
Yeah, I haven't looked at our crossing stats, but I don't really see us as that much of a crossing team. I know Ryan's been improving with crossing, and I think Larousse maybe did in the first game, but I don't see us as like a high crossing team. I'll have to look at the numbers, but I just think he's just a good option, and he's a good vocal point. And sometimes Bayo isn't there when we need him, and he is. So both of them have got different strengths. It's going to be easy. It's going to be interesting to get a good look at Daniel Jebison when he comes in, if he comes in, to see what his strengths are. But I think he can do a bit of both. But yeah, you've got to credit Rovik, because every time he's played this season, he's delivered, including that Millwall game, to get those vital 3 points in the first day of the season.
On the individual, Sam, I just wanted to give a shout out to Ryan Porteous yesterday, because he's a player that I feel maybe because he has quite a big mistake in him, we maybe cloud him with a certain judgment, I think, sometimes, Porteous, because yesterday he had 2 assists to his name. Thought his interceptions were good. There was a couple of erratic passes in the first half, and maybe one moment where it was a little bit shaky. But I thought overall it was a solid performance from Porteous, and he has 2 assists to his name. Particularly the run in the first half was great, and more. You'd like to see more from Porteous. Maybe he was given the license to do that with the way that Plymouth set up. But just a word on Porteous, Sam, and his performance yesterday, because Rovik got 2 and both set up by Porteous himself.
Yeah, he's a bizarre one, isn't he, Ryan Porteous as well? I feel like we were saying with Rovik and Bayer, we've got so many players this season who are almost enigmas and who are 50-50s, but so far we've been almost on the good side of all of them. Even Bayer, we saw his goal the other day, Rovik. I think on the whole, Ryan Porteous has done really well as well. The role of centre-backs generally at the moment, Charlie, you'll know this better than anyone, it's really evolving in football I feel like they're getting more license to move forward on the ball. We saw the other day Mickey van der Ven with Tottenham running the entire pitch pretty much. We on our analysis of both the Stoke game and the Derby game, we spoke about the role that the centre halves are having in terms of boxing in other teams. And I think ultimately we were able to sense that we were able to get one of our centre halves forward against Plymouth, or even James Morris in the second half, who moved over to left back. And I think Porteous does that role really well because he's such an aggressive runner. I think he's quite decisive as well. I know sometimes he's probably too decisive to the point where his passing is a bit erratic, and I feel like sometimes he releases the ball without properly looking up, or he does things too quickly. But on the whole, I feel like it's helpful to have a defender who is able to get the ball out his feet and get the ball up the pitch quickly. So, yeah, we know he's got a mistake in Ryan Porteous, but so far this season, I think he's been really good. And like we said last season with the back three, I feel like having the defenders in the back three, I think suits them all a lot better because I feel like their weaknesses are covered over a bit more by each other, and what they're good at as well can come to the fore a bit more.
Second half, obviously, you saw the Rovik goal, made it 2-0. And if it wasn't for Grimshaw, as we said, it would have been a couple more. There was a bit of a scary moment at 2-0. And I think Cleverley had his hands on his head when Ryan Andrews made that back pass back, and Jonathan Bond getting us out a little bit of trouble, if I remember correctly. But I think the one thing that I did think about Ryan yesterday, I thought, you got to think of the players that have played 5 games so far this season already at this point. So he's played all 5. I think Sierralta has played all 5. Deli Bashiru has played all 5. They're the 3 to look at, and maybe something to look at in terms of managing their minutes going forwards, because that's probably one thing I would say about the right-hand side. If we don't have Ryan in there, do we have another player who can come in and do a similar job in terms of what he can do going forwards, particularly with his explosiveness going forwards as well? But one man who is explosive going forwards is Rocco Vata, Charlie. And there was a little bit of concern to provide a bit of balance on sort of, we're all really happy with how it's going at the moment. Someone did mention there's slight concern about his lack of minutes so far for Watford. And they were surprised that he didn't start yesterday. Cleverley went in the front through a Bar and Ince, and a lot of people wanted Vata instead of Ince, for example. Do you see where they're coming from with that one?
See where they're coming from, but Tom Ince got a hat-trick in the last Carabao Cup game, so what more can he do to get some minutes? Vata just looks so lively whenever he plays. He's so exciting. He's great to watch. Yesterday, do you know what I mean? Running at his defenders, sharp turns, some quick shots, accurate shots as well that the keepers had to do well. Did miss a sitter right at the end, which he probably should have scored. But yeah, it's interesting. I think I read somewhere early on about Vata, and I think it was Tom talking about they're trying to improve his out of possession work. So that might be something that is a concern, why he might not be getting minutes and why you might see the other players playing in front of him, especially in the league game. But look, I'm guessing he's still 20 odd. So I hope he's going to get some minutes this season. But yeah, when we were talking a bit about the game after yesterday, I was like, he was the one who stood out for me because he just comes on and he's just dynamite every time he plays. So I'm really excited to see how he plays, and I think he will get minutes this season. And he just needs to keep his head down and keep impressing when he does start.
Yeah, agreed. I think Watford have a real gem there. I also think they've got a serious talent in Quadro Bar as well, because he's a man that whenever he gets the ball, Sam, he gets you off your seat, because every time he's in a one-on-one, and it doesn't matter who it's against, and yes, there'll be tougher opposition, and yes, it's early days, but I just feel it won't be long until he regularly starts for Watford, Sam. When he gets that 1v1, you back him to beat his man every time. He's got that, again, like Vata, that explosiveness, that strength, that power. I think it was a moment in the first half where he was just had his back to his own goal in the middle of the pitch, and he's sort of slightly off balance, but shrugged 2 players off, turned and released Sema down the left-hand side. And I turned to my dad and I was like, God, we've got a player here, genuinely. Went full Harry Redknapp, and he's going right to the very top. But Sam, on Bar, did you see that? You got a standing ovation when he went off as well yesterday as well. It seemed like a lot of fans have really bought into this this guy. And again, at just 21 years old as well.
Yeah, he was loving that applause coming off, I think, on the halfway line on the other side of the pitch. So he got to walk all the way around and take it in. But it was fully deserved. It's really interesting because Gabe Sutton from the EFL debate was always telling me Quadro Bar, really, really, really good player. Like, watch out for him. And I remember this season I was doing the Watford season preview with him at some point, and he said, "Do you think Quadro Bar's got a role with Watford this season?" And I went, to be honest with you, I completely forgot he still played for us. I thought he'd left because he just hadn't had that breakthrough in the 2, 3, 4 years that he's been with Watford so far. But my word, he is so ridiculously exciting to watch, so powerful. You just know he's going to beat his man every single time. You know he's going to get to the byline. It seems that when the ball seems to be running out of play on the byline, he somehow keeps it in and either chops back in or gets the cross in. I just think he's just so exciting to watch, and he's a player who gets everyone off the edge of their seats. I'd even go as far to say is that he's more exciting to me to watch than Yasser Asprilla ever was as well. I know Asprilla had that those sorts of moments of quality, which we're not sure if Barr can ever sort of recreate. But in terms of over a 90-minute period, who I'd have to pick to watch, I'd go with Quadro Bar just because he seems to force his way into the game and takes the ball forward. And a serious conversation has to be had on whether he starts, because as good as Kiambi has been, it's difficult, I think, at the moment not to be considering putting Bar in ahead of him.
We'll get into that team that will face Sheffield United at the weekend in just a second. I guess the last thing I wanted to mention, two things actually. The first is, it was mentioned a few times last night, but one of the biggest positives for me was the formation change in the second half, because it showed that Cleverley has tactical flexibility in the way he wants to play, but also has tactical flexibility in this Watford squad, which is something to mention. The way we shifted to a back four, Tikvich came on, a few players came on, and we're able to just change the way we play, which I thought was a big positive. Morris going to that left back spot, so he can also play left centre back and left back. But I do think Morris's position is a left centre back. I think he's really come into his own there. The second question was, lads, who do we want in the next round?
Luton, we can't get that.
Who do we want? I personally, I'd like to see us get a Premier League away day. I think that'd be good. Now,
nah,
yeah, nice. I would like a Premier League who went up, like a Southampton at home or something. So okay. Stay at home, but a bit of a test to see how we get on. Sam's not having that.
No, I'm a bit bored of Southampton. We played Southampton about 5 times last season because of the FA Cup replay.
True. I wouldn't mind a London Premier League team away, like a Brentford. Are they in it? Surely, yeah. Brentford. So. There we go.
Yeah, Palace are still in there as well. I'd love Leyton Orient away, or QPR away. To be honest with you, I want it to be as exciting but as winnable as possible, because the Premier League teams, if we do get through, will be inevitable as the rounds progress. So yeah, another good draw in this one, and then wait for the Premier League sides in the round after.
We mentioned Vata, we mentioned Bar. Dumbia got some minutes as well, and Ramirez Espan as well came on as well. So all in all, a really good night for the Hornets through to the third round of the Carabao Cup. Also, just to bear in mind, the transfer window that is happening at this moment in time. It's the last few days of the window. Shuts at 11 p.m. on the 1st of September, I want to say. It always changes each year. Sometimes it's like 5 p.m. Sometimes it's yeah. When does the transfer window shut? That's the question. I'm going to search up on Google as we speak. Oh no, Friday the 30th of August at 11 p.m. Friday the 30th of August, 11 p.m. And there's still a bit of movement from Watford's end as well. Reading between the lines, Charlie, it sounds like Cleverley wants another midfielder in before Friday's deadline. What sort of midfielder do you think we should be looking to bring in?
That's news to me. When did he say that?
No, just sort of like reading his post-match comments, reading what he has to say to Andrew French. You got the impression that they are looking to bring another one in, someone with maybe a bit more championship now. So I'd probably lean towards
a midfielder. Okay. No, I read yesterday when he was talking about Ogbonna that he still wants another defender. So we don't know about the Caben deal, if that's still on or still happening. What do we need strength in? I should get my depth chart out. I do think we need another defender. I think we're 1 or 2 injuries. I think we're still starting with like Pollock, Sierralta and Morris, which is pretty, I don't know, it doesn't feel that strong, especially some of the players that we're going to be coming up against in the upcoming weeks. It'd be nice to. One thing that I'd criticise Watford's kind of recruitment is we've said how good we are at kind of discovering gems and bringing in younger players and kind of reselling them for a lot of money. We've also brought in some pretty good, as it stands, like the older players look quite good. Livermore last season, Sissoko's looked great. Hopefully Ogbonna can have a similar impact. But we're not recruiting any like the 24-year-olds, 25-year-olds that can come in and hit the ground running. Probably that's because they're the most expensive, but I think that's an area where we always need to improve. I remember when we done our 5 players Watford should sign, I said Lewis Baker, someone like that who's got that championship experience. So who knows? I just want to see on Thursday Mr. Jebberson arrive to London Colney, and then after that I'd be pretty happy. I think we'll do some ratings and we'll analyse our transfer window next week at some point. But I'm pretty happy. I'm not too sure what else we definitely need. What do you guys reckon?
Jebberson waiting, Caben waiting, Sam, on that one as well. Cleverly's quote last night, I've got it up here. There will certainly be one more to come in, possibly even 2. Now Loser's assessment doesn't look great. Sam?
Yeah. It's interesting with the Lose one as well, because there were obviously talks on whether he'd be looking to leave come the last few days of the window, so that could impact that deal as well. I think a centre-half is really, really important at this point. A, for quality, B, for depth, because Tikvich came on again last night and did not fill me with confidence at all. I think that could be an accident waiting to happen if we ever had to play him in the league at this moment in time. But yeah, I think another central midfielder is going to be really, really important. I think, firstly, Charlie, you're spot on with that. I was thinking about this earlier, that it's kind of weird that we don't really go with anyone in that middle age bracket. We seem to go for either players who are really young and inexperienced, who are almost quite raw, Yoroko Vatas, for example, or on the other end of the spectrum, Sissoko, Angelo Ogbonna, who are potentially going for their one last dance in their career sort of thing. So yeah, I think someone within that middle bracket, but I think also someone who can complement the balance of Moussa Sissoko and Tom Delly in the middle of the park, because it is a long season, and I feel like whoever comes in, whether that's Kiambi playing in the 2 in the middle of the park, Ramirez of Spain is quite inexperienced, we know that, or Imran Loser. I don't think any of them can come in and replicate the balance that we have at the moment, and that's arguably the most important part of our team. So yeah, I think that's what we need to be looking at the moment.
Yeah, I think my biggest concern with this Watford squad is actually Dele Bashiru. I'd go as far to say he's our most important player, because even last night, and I know I'm going to keep pushing the Dele Bashiru propaganda, but what he makes receiving the ball in tight areas look so easy, and such a skill for a central midfielder player, particularly in a 2. And that's why I think him and Sissoko complement each other so well, because the stuff that Sissoko could do well probably isn't Dele Bashiru's strong point, but Dele Bashiru's strong point is probably what Sissoko can't do that well. And I think when you think about players who are exactly the type of player that Tom Cleverley wants in a team, Dele Bashiru, 24 years of age, coming into his best years, he's central midfielder. He can literally be everything that Cleverley wants him to be, and mould the style of play through him. And I just feel like he's the one player that I do just have a concern about. Even when he went down last night towards the back end of it, he's played all 5 games. We know he's had an ACL injury before. We know he's had his injury problems. I just feel we don't have another player like him at this moment in time. And that would be the one position that I would look at to bring in, a very similar to player to Dele Bashiru in the attributes. Now, we have brought in Pierre Duomo, Charlie. Interestingly, though, it looks like he won't be used before this side of Christmas, according to Tom Cleverley. He used him as a sort of long-term project, whereas someone like Vata, so Dumby is more of a long-term project, but like Vata can come in a little bit sooner. But is it unrealistic to suggest that he won't be seen before Christmas when we aren't exactly blessed with options in that position?
I'm trying to think of any of the academy players who might get looking, but apart from Ramirez, the Span, we haven't really seen anyone in the midfield area, haven't we? I think Claridge is really impressed when he played, especially in that Hibs game. Maybe it does point to us bringing in another player, because like you say, Jacob, it would be a couple of injuries, and then Pierre Duomo is going to be next in line. So maybe we have got someone coming in. Just on Tom Dele Bashiru, he's got thighs like tree trunks and feet like ballerina. He is just a lovely, lovely player. We need to keep him fit.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let us know where you think Watford need to strengthen. And if it is a central midfielder, what type of midfielder we should be looking for as well. Okay, we'll move on to Sheffield United at the weekend, a Sunday kickoff. Lads, who's going on? Not there, unfortunately, at Bramall Lane on Sunday. Sam, you're there?
I am. It's my last away game until December, unfortunately.
And why is that, Sam? What are you allowed to say?
No. Of course, we've spoken about it beforehand. I think, my travels to Australia. So, if there are any Watford fans, I have found one, a guy called Adam out in Sydney, who wants to link up and potentially watch a game. I think my third day out in Australia is Luton away. So, if anyone wants to link up and watch that, at whatever time it will be in the day, I think Australian time is going to be like 1 a.m. Then drop me a message on my socials. And yeah, would love to meet up.
Sheffield United away on Sunday, 3 p.m. kickoff at Bramall Lane, coming up against former Watford head coach Chris Wilder. I'm sure it'll be a lovely moment with Ryan Andrews pre-match as well, the manager that gave him the opportunity to play for Watford as well. So that will be a nice moment between those two. Second away game of the season, Charlie. Just overall feelings, because you look at the odds, and I'm not a betting man myself really because I'm terrible. But the odds are that Sheffield United are slight favourites going into this one, even with Watford's run of form. Would you be backing that with the quality they have?
Yeah, we'll get up in the bit. I've got kind of the lineups and how we could like some of their players, but Kiefer Moore, Callum O'Hare, Gustavo Harmer, Amadot. They've got some really good players who've just come down from the Premier League. Chris Wilder's he's a good coach. Some people think more highly than the other. They've also brought in Raksaki, really exciting winger as well. So it's going to be a really tough test for our lot. But they've had a bit of a kind of troubling summer. A lot of players leaving, transfers trickling in. I think they've got some more coming as well. And then their results. I know they lost to Barrow yesterday. I haven't looked at the lineup, but I'm guessing it wasn't their fully fit team. They dropped points against QPR, who were down to 10 men, and they drew against Norwich on the weekend away, which we don't know if that's a good result or not because it's so early on in the season. So it's going to be a real tough test. Bramall Lane could be a big atmosphere. If our boys just stick to our game plan, be doing what we're doing, try to unsettle their fans, make them a bit anxious, stay in the game. And I think if we're in a good position, some of our players like Chatfidetti are going to have real joy because they're going to be the ones pushing on, and there's going to be a lot more space than we've had to deal with against Stoke, but more importantly against Derby on the weekend.
Is it a good time to play Sheffield United, Sam? Because as Charlie said, they're on the back of a defeat against Barnsley in the AFL Cup. Granted, a rotated team. They drew to Norwich. They drew to QPR as well. They beat Preston on the opening day, but that was the end of Ryan Lowe and his time at Preston. So is it a good time to be playing one of the favourites to get promoted this season?
Without doubt. Sometimes we see teams towards the top end of the table. It almost takes them a few weeks to really click into gear. And I think with Sheffield United, that might be the case. It's been a summer of uncertainty, a lot of comings and goings. Charlie, you mentioned Gus Harmer's name there. It looks like he could be off to Leeds as well. So that could be a name who isn't involved at the weekend. I'm not sure how far down the line that is, but yeah, one to watch maybe, but definitely it's a really, really good time to play them. I think getting it out the way early as well could be a good thing. I think we played them, it might have been the first game of the season under Rob Edwards, and we beat them, and I think they went on to go up anyway. So yeah, it's a team who I think are better off to be playing in the first few weeks. Interesting about Chris Wilder as well. I actually recently rewatched a video he did after we lost 3-1 at home to Cardiff. And I think it was the most scathing post-match interview I've ever heard a Watford manager give, where he literally just said the players are rubbish and they're playing as individuals. So, yeah, that was a real low point, wasn't it? That Cardiff game.
And I have to say, just on Chris Wilder, from a personal point of view, I've got a lot of time for him. Not only what he did for Watford, but not only with Ryan Andrews as well. But I felt at that point, Watford fans are really disconnected with what's happening. And yes, Tom Cleverley's come in and brought some new ideas, and we all know what Clevers is like as a man. And you do feel really connected with him at the moment and this team and the direction it's going in. But he told a few home truths with that Watford team and club and to the boards that I think a lot of people were probably, and managers didn't say, and he was the first one to really come out and say, This is the problem, this is why it's happening, and this is the root cause of the problems as well.
Yeah, it was definitely. I think we know that he wanted to stay on. I think we broke that as a bit of an exclusive on WD18 a couple of years ago, didn't we? But I think deep down he probably knew that he wasn't going to be kept on. So went down swinging some punches and letting everyone know what was really going on at the football club. So yeah, big respect for Chris Wilder. I really, really liked him. I would have kept him on at the time as well. And then we brought in Valerian Ismail. After that, I would have kept him on. I don't think it's really clicked so far with him being back at Sheffield United. It's a difficult backdrop there at the moment as well. But yeah, best wishes to Chris after hopefully beating them on the weekend.
Charlie, let's get into the sort of
lineup. We'll beat you first.
Charlie, let's get into the lineups. Let's get into the tactical breakdowns, how Sheffield United are going to set up and how you think Watford are going to set up as well. Just run us through the formations that you expect both teams to go with. So
yeah, interestingly, kind of Chris Wilder's known for his three at the back and his kind of overlapping centre backs, but I think he's changed his style, especially with this version of Sheffield United. He's been playing four at the back this season. Burrows they brought in from Peterborough. I know a lot of Watford fans wanted him. Armidotic, he might be going to Ipswich. I saw they were interested in him. Souttar's come in from Leicester, I think. Gilchrist, he's Chelsea loanee. Arblaster, who is like their young kid, but even some top teams have been interested in him, like Brentford. Sousa they brought in from the Premier League. He's been playing. Talked about Gustavo Harmer. Callum O'Hare from Coventry on a free. Brooks is another academy player, I'm sure. Really tidy, exciting winger. And then championship cheat code, is that a bit too much? But I feel like every time he goes to a championship club, they basically get promoted. So I think they're going to set up in a 4-2-3-1. Interesting, Gustavo Harmer kind of on that left side. So that might be an opportunity in terms of us and Ryan getting into good areas on the right and getting overloads. But yeah, really tough team on paper. And this is kind of how I've lined us up. But you can see Morris isn't there. Any changes you two think that might be made to the Watford starting 11?
Well, I think there's two key talking points, isn't there, Sam? Let's do the Morris one to start with. He's been playing at left centre-back. Porteous has been out the team. It's been a back three of Pollock, Sierralta and Morris. Would you go with that three that we've been playing recently, or would you bring Porteous in for Morris?
Oh, it's such a tough one, this, because you just feel that James Morris doesn't deserve to be dropped. I feel like he's done relatively well so far, and he seems to be growing in confidence by the game. But I just sort of feel that this isn't going to be the game for him necessarily, particularly with Kiefer Moore, who we know is a really physical player. We know that Callum O'Hare, if Gus Harmer plays, and David Brooks are all really technical players as well. And I just have a slight fear of James Morris starting instead of Ryan Porteous, who's a little bit more aggressive. So I don't think he will. I think he will keep with Morris. I think Cleverley is I think he's loyal, and I think he's going to reward players based on how well they're playing. So I think he's going to stick. I think he'll go unchanged, to be honest with you. I think his philosophy is going to be, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
And the other talking point, Charlie, was Edu Kayembe at right forwards. Now he's got the numbers against Stoke. Some people felt that he isn't maybe offering as much as someone else could in that role, whether that's a Bar. And a lot of people are wanting Bar to start after what they've seen from him so far in a Watford shirt. Would you change it? And the other question is, does Cleverley change it? Are probably the two to ask.
I do like the idea of Bar on the transition and kind of having that press when they're trying to build up, trying to disrupt it. But there's just no chance that Kayembe will definitely play. I think for reasons I spoke about in the last video, I just think he's got a bit of composure. I think he can calm the game down when it's a bit frantic, and I think he's going to be a goal threat. But one question I wanted to ask, could there be a change at the front of the pitch?
Ooh. For people who can't see, Charlie's dragged Daniel Jefferson into the middle.
I don't think so. I think we've seen that Clevs is like I said with the James Morris one. I think he's really loyal to players who are playing well, and we know Bio is frustrating. I think is probably one of the best words to describe him with, but after scoring that goal the other day against Derby, as well as some other really good moments, I think he's going to stick with Bayo and almost, I think, give Jefferson at least a few more days in training before giving him that first start.
Yeah, I think it'd be punchy. And I do agree with Sam. I think Cleverley will go with Morris, and I think he'll go with the same back three that has started most of the games, which is Sierralta, Pollock, and Morris. Sorry, Sam, did you say Porteous would start?
No. I think he'll go unchanged from the Derby games. I think it will be Morris, Sierralta, Pollock.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And also another subplot to mention is Yasser Larousse, who obviously spent last season on loan at Sheffield United. He should probably be starting at left wing back at his former club as well. Lads, anything else to mention about Sheffield United from your end, Charlie, tactically?
Yeah, I just think like the opportunity tactically is just to win the midfield battle. If you look at the two shapes here, I'm just looking at this box that we can have. If Kayembe and Chatford-Atsi are kind of close to Sissoko and Deli Bashiru, and we can work the ball through the thirds from the back, we should have overloads in here all the time. It'd be interesting to see how narrow Hamer comes in as well, if it kind of does turn into a free at times. But I think that's a really big opportunity for us if we can kind of, I think a bit similar to Millwall. I thought we did do well in the midfield and we got it down. And if we can get a couple of combinations around Sousa and Arblaster, I think that's when we could get Chatford-Atsi, Bayo, hopefully Andrews, Larousse on their bike to get some chances. Like you said about those subplots, Larousse, he's going to be getting an earful from the Sheffield United fans who didn't rate him. But you've got to remember, Daniel Jefferson grew up for the academy. What a story that would be in his first game to score against Watford at Bramall Lane.
It needs to side first.
Yeah, don't clip this up. But hopefully that happens on Thursday. Yeah, really big test for us. I'm going to be trying to watch it at a wedding on my phone. I think the speeches during that time is going to be an absolute nightmare. But if we lose, don't message me. If we win, message me. And maybe I'll do a little video message as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not going to Bramall Lane on Sunday, it is going to be live on Sky Sports Football as well. So you could check it out there. And I think that's what we're going to wrap up. The only thing I wanted to leave us with, lads, is Watford's September Championship fixtures. We've got Sheffield United away, Coventry at home, Norwich away, and Sunderland at home. And just to wrap up, how many points do you think we will pick up in those 4 games? I would take 6, personally.
Ooh, could you run through those again, please?
Absolutely. Sheffield United away, Coventry at home, Norwich away, and Sunderland at home. This is like a bad version of the chase. You got your 4 options.
I think we get 5 points. I think we win 1.
I knew exactly how this was going to go. When Jacob said 6, I knew Sam go lower. We're going to get 7 points.
Let us know how many points you think Watford will get in September in the comment section below. Obviously, we'll have a Carabao Cup 3rd round to chuck in that as well. But if you did enjoy today's stream, please do leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to WD18. Score predictions for the weekend, lads?
I think we'll get a point, and I'd 100% take a point now. I think I'm going to go with 2-2. Sheffield United 2, Watford 2.
And also, just a reminder that our Sunday night stream will probably be moved to a Monday, right, Sam? Charlie's out of action. Sam will probably be on the beers. And I'll be enjoying, hopefully, a Watford win. Charlie, your score prediction for the weekend?
It worked on Sunday, so I'm going to go Sheffield United 3, Watford 1.
I reckon it's going to be Watford 1, Sheffield United 0, set piece, Pollock. Get up.
Would we take a point now if you were off that?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you take a point? Let us know in the comment section below. Leave a like on the way out. Subscribe to WD18. Follow Sam, Charlie, and myself on our social channels, and WD18 at WD18 fans. And we will see you next time. Take care, and you odds.